stuff like that if people want to throw them on here. So. Yeah, beautiful. All right, well, we should be getting going here. We'll give it a minute or two before everything goes live, but we should be up and running here. So, Destiny, welcome. Thanks for sitting down with us.
Thank you. It's great to have you guys.
We are really, really excited. So this is probably the coolest place that we've been. We do a bunch of breweries that we've been doing a lot lately. We're touring the whole breweries, but this is such a really cool concept that we've never.
Craft brewery style winery.
Yeah, it's awesome, and
it should have a tap room kind of feel to it.
It really does. It's a great description to it, and I'm sure a lot of people are kind of wondering like what an urban winery is. But before we dive into all of that, I'd love to hear kind of your background of how this idea got started. Right? I mean, it's not something we've ever heard of, or not something you really see common. So, where did the idea of a urban winery get started, or when did that idea start for you?
Okay, so I'll kind of start from the beginning. So I'm a Cleveland
great
girl,
stop to start.
born and bred. So I grew up in Euclid.
Oh, Euclid!
Yeah,
There you go.
Euclid High School, class of 1982.
All right, there we go. Represent Euclid Panthers.
But I joined the Navy right out of high school to get out of Euclid.
Right.
And get an education, see the world, all the reasons people join the Navy. I joined the Navy. I was a Russian linguist, like I told you, in the Navy.
That's incredible.
In the good old days of the Cold War, right?
Sure.
When Ronald Reagan said trust but verify, that was my job.
That was wow.
Yeah.
That is the coolest way to describe your job. Oh, that is awesome. Good for you.
I served 9 years enlisted, earned my degree part-time at night, became an officer, retired in 2003 after a career in naval intelligence. And I was in the DC area, so I just transitioned right into the defense contractor world. I worked for big companies like IBM, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics. I did engineering. Wow. I did consulting. I did business development primarily, so like trying to win big contracts.
Right, sure.
So when I was getting ready to turn 50, I had been divorced for a couple of years. I got divorced after a really long marriage. I was married to a Marine for 26 years. And my kid was grown and through college and on her own, and I kind of had this blank sheet of paper. The only thing that was really holding me in Virginia was where I was living right outside of DC, was that I'd become a volunteer firefighter part-time at night.
Oh, incredible.
And that was a blast. Oh,
sure.
My God. I mean, it kind of fit me like a glove because it's very paramilitary. So
yeah,
I
right.
Kind of went back into that same mode of having been in uniform for all those years. And I just loved riding fire trucks. It was so much fun. But I was turning 50, and I really had to be honest with myself that I wasn't a 20-year-old man, and I couldn't keep climbing on fire trucks forever. I was going to get hurt, and I was going to happen. So I decided, okay, that's the only thing really holding me here. My kid is all settled. He was engaged at that time and now married. But so I just like sheet of paper. So I'd always wanted a food or wine related someday lifestyle business. I had this bookshelf of stuff. It's how to open a restaurant, how to open a tea room, how to open a B&B, all that kind of stuff. And I always kind of dreamed about it. So when I decided I was going to do something different and needed to take a left turn, I got serious about it. I took my two sisters who live here in Cleveland and my daughter, and we went to Vegas. And
every good story starts with we're going to Vegas.
Sky Suite at the Aria, right? We were ballers.
Right.
It was for like 4 days. But I took them out there because I'm like, okay, I gotta make this decision. What am I gonna do? And that's chapter of my life. So after that weekend, I decided I was gonna leave my job and move back to Cleveland and figure it out.
I love it.
I wanted to be back home.
Yeah.
So I bought a house here, and then I ended up actually working from home with General Dynamics and traveling with them for another whole year.
Oh, wow.
A series of circumstances. But it gave me a lot of time to kind of figure out, okay, I'm going to start a business. What am I going to do?
Sure.
So I used that time to kind of look at the market, develop a business plan, and I didn't want to get into the restaurant business because Cleveland is a great food town.
Oh, it is.
So many great restaurants. That's a red ocean. So I didn't want to do that. But I love the brewery culture. They're just popping up like mushrooms all over the place.
Yeah.
They serve a neighborhood, have a good product, they have a cool vibe, they thrive.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't matter how many of them pop up. That's always So I figured if it works with beer, it should work with wine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had seen this little storefront winery in Maryland. It was like in a strip mall. I put it in my GPS, and I ended up in the strip mall. I'm like, okay, I'm lost. And I'm like, no, there it is. It's like a tasting room. They were making, 5-gallon batches of wine, little carboys, and I thought, how cool is that? 'Cause I didn't want to be having a vineyard or being out in the countryside or whatever.
Right.
I did not want to be a farmer. So I said, it's really cool that you can do this right in the neighborhood.
Sure.
So the reason I was able to execute it at this kind of level, though, is because right at that time I decided that's what I wanted to do. I needed to find a wine.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about making wine. Zero. Never made wine in my life. One thing that's cool about Cleveland is there's tons of basement winemakers.
Oh,
around
sure.
here,
Oh, yeah.
because there's so much Eastern European heritage
Right.
in this area that, you know, everybody's grandfather used to make wine in the basement, and now they do, and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
So I started looking around for a winemaker, and I found one kind of roundabout through Kent State Ashtabula, which has a winemaking program.
Okay.
And I got connected with this genius. His name is Dave Mazzoni. He lives here at Cleveland Heights also. And me, where I went into the Navy to get out of Ohio as a young person, he went to Napa Valley.
Oh, beautiful.
So he did his winemaker certifications and training at the Culinary Institute of America out there in Napa. Worked his way up from tasting room server to assistant winemaker out there, and really learned the trade. And he came back to Ohio. He was assistant winemaker at Debonais. He was head winemaker at Thorn Creek.
Wow.
And then
Big
he was
names.
working in wine distribution
Yeah.
when I found him and brought it back.
You're like,
to
come
his
come
first
back.
love.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So he helped me design this place. This winery is built into an old 1920s era auto repair garage.
I thought I saw that online,
You can
right?
still kind of see the bones of it. You know,
Yeah.
the exhaust fans and where the bump outs are in the brick. That's where the car lifts used to be. And
So
this is
cool.
8 inches of concrete in the floor, so we can literally drive forklifts in here and do all this
sure.
stuff. So it's perfect for what we want to do.
So and it's such a cool area right here, like right in the CLE area.
And
Like
my
it's
house
such a
is just down the street, so it's like a 5-minute walk
Oh,
here for me.
awesome.
It's the best commute I ever had. And I actually found this space while I was living in the neighborhood. Going to movies, going to the restaurants
Sure.
and stuff, and I'm looking in this old garage going, that might work. And it was, when I got it, it was big and open and raw and dirty. It had been sitting vacant for 5 years when
Really?
I rented it. And, you know, it didn't look like this when I rented it.
Oh, I can imagine. Now,
But
what year did you guys open this officially?
I got the lease in December of 2015. It took about 6 months to get the license secured, to do all the
Sure.
build out, to do all this stuff. So we officially opened in July of 2016.
Okay.
So we just hit our 5th anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. So this day and age, that's a big
Absolutely.
deal.
I'm sure once you make it through the first like couple of years, it's got to be the hardest, right?
And I never, you know, I worked at McDonald's when I was 18, but, you know,
It's a far cry off of that,
I
right?
never worked in retail. I never did anything like this before.
Sure.
I didn't know how to make wine. You know, so this is really like learning from the ground up.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I wonder, you know, I don't know what I was getting myself into, but it's been really great. And even through this pandemic, it's the philosophy of the business that we've stayed true to. I think that has really kept us on track. So there's 3 tenets of the business. The first
Look at that.
is I'm a good segue person.
Oh, this is incredible. We don't have to do anything. Like, I have all these questions. You're either reading them upside down or I don't know what it is. It's great because we'll just keep going down.
3 tenets of the business. So the first is it's good winemaking.
Yeah.
You know, so all of this wine is legit. Dave knows what he's doing. He is so good at balancing the wines that he makes. He's just really, really excellent at what he does. So we have dry whites, we have dry reds, we have some sweeter wines, we have some off-dry wines, we have a dry hop Sauvignon Blanc that we serve on a kegerator.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Perfect timing, Lacey. Oh, and look at that. That's incredible.
So literally there's something for everybody in our inventory.
Yeah.
And there's nothing pretentious about it. You don't have to hold your pinky out when you drink it. You don't have to have a big wine vocabulary to describe it.
Yeah.
Do you like it or not?
Sure.
You know, what's your palate? Do you like something drier or sweeter? We'll find something for you. If
That
you
makes
don't
me
like
feel
any
better.
of that,
Yeah, right.
we've got a wine slushy that you're gonna love.
For
Oh,
sure.
You know, so something for everybody. The
Yeah.
second tenet is to celebrate Cleveland. So Cleveland is my hometown, and I think we guys need some glasses too. Oh, she's
Oh, Lacey's got it all handled. This is awesome.
I guess I appreciate it more because I was away for 50 some years.
Sure.
But no matter where I lived or what I did, Cleveland was home.
Right.
You know, and even 17 years in the DC area, it was home.
Right.
So I really appreciate it. I love this town so much. So all of our wines are named and themed to celebrate Cleveland. I have pictures of the city. My Dave, the winemaker, is brother-in-law is a professional photographer.
Well, clearly, yeah, I can
When
tell.
we were, standing up the winery and building it out, for the price of a plane ticket from Chicago, he came and they took all the photos. I went around town with a list of my, ideas about what I wanted to call the wines and stuff, and the pictures I wanted, and they delivered them.
How cool is that?
So the Celebrate Cleveland Plus, it's not just the name of the wine, but it's this local art and local musicians that we bring in here and the local groups we work with and pop-ups with small local businesses and other things like that. So really we try to celebrate Cleveland and everything here. And then the third tenet is to drink wine and do good. So for me, this business was a platform for philanthropy again.
Okay.
And that's part of doing this in this stage of my life is that I really wanted to have that for me personally, but also as a way to engage with the community.
Sure.
I always say it's good wine made fun that celebrates Cleveland and creates community. So we really are looking to create community through what we're doing. Like I try to run this business like it's a community center that sells wine.
Right.
It's not your typical setup.
No, it really isn't. And you mentioned something before that it's just you hit the nail on the head. It's like this place is not pretentious. It's so inviting to walk in, and a lot of people don't see that from wine. A lot of people don't, if they don't have the extension. It's very intimidating, especially for like the younger generation that this area is really attracting right now. So I'm sure you guys have been an awesome gateway into appreciating wine. And you said you don't have to have the fancy words, you have to sit down and have your sweater vest and your Mickey up. You can come out and hang out. It feels like a craft brewery in here. And it's automatically, as soon as you walk in, there's little seats and everybody's hanging out at the bar and everybody's having fun. Yeah. The art on the wall, it's just so inviting. It's incredible.
Somebody told me once, this place is just like my living room.
I wish my living room was
that is exactly what I'm going for.
It's a great compliment.
That is.
I thought it was too.
It's awesome. And it's so clear that you're so passionate about this. Even just like I said, we just teed up the first question and to hear you just go off and talk about this.
I have my elevator speech.
Listen, you've got it down packed. That was incredible. So tell us a little bit about what we have in front of us, I guess. So what is your favorite to start, I guess? If you were hanging out and we walked in, what would normally be in your glass?
I think my favorite right now is our anniversary red.
Okay.
We always do a special blend every year for our anniversary. So this year it's a blend of Cabernet and Merlot.
Oh.
And it's just spectacular. But I think when that's not here, because it's only here for a short time, we make it and then we sell it out. But our Cabernet, Seatown Cabernet Sauvignon is always my favorite.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of my go-to. But we have some really, really good ones in this plate. So I always recommend you start with kind of the lightest and driest first and kind of go through and save the sweetest for last. That blackberry Merlot, though, there's something magical about it. That Buckeye blackberry
It's already calling my name. It's feeling myself.
We sell more of that than anything.
Really?
It's everybody's favorite. I actually call that wine Kool-Aid for adults because it goes down so easy and so smooth.
Sure.
It's a dry wine, but because we add a fruit concentrate to it right before it's bottled, it kind of takes any of the bitterness out of the tannins of the Merlot, and it's just super smooth and beautiful.
That sounds amazing.
So this is a Footlight Sauvignon Blanc. It's named in honor of our Playhouse Square. Because you'll notice that I didn't call things like Terminal Tower Red or things like that. Because people own those things. So you have to be, intellectual property.
I'm sure that was fun going through and finding out what you could name it, what you couldn't.
So, Footlights denotes the theater. So, and there's a photo of the big area of Playhouse Square on the label.
We're going to pretend like we know anything about wine here.
Yeah, right.
It's very, very good.
So it's good.
It's
very light. Yeah, very light, refreshing.
I want to give you guys a little wine tasting 101.
Ooh, yes, absolutely. Come on in.
We need
This is so funny. We want to cheers?
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, sir.
Yeah, right.
Oh, here we go. We got Lacey taking photos.
Posing for a picture, yeah.
Here we go. The sommelier. This is awesome.
We were just drinking it. Justin's over here
Seriously, what a cool place. If you guys haven't been down here or even haven't even heard about this is such a cool hangout. The perfect, either middle of the week or weekend date night. It honestly has that. And Lacey will get a bunch of photos up she's taken now, but it really has that craft beer feel when you walk in here. You've got everything going on for the brewing station in the back, the windows that you can see, the big bar right here. The giant garage door that's opened up outside. It's fantastic. So here comes Sesame back. We're gonna learn today.
I brought you something special. Okay.
Ooh.
So you just had the Bud Light Sauvignon Blanc. So that's light and crisp and got a little grapefruit, next to it, right? So this one they call Hopped in the Heights.
Ooh.
Okay. So this is
Anything hopped has our name all over it.
This is exactly the same wine you just had. It's a Sauvignon Blanc, same exact wine. But what the winemaker does is he takes, when the wine is finished, he takes a mesh bag and we use Citra, Centennial, and Lemon Drop hops.
Oh, wow.
So they're in a mesh bag and it just soaks in the wine like a tea bag.
Really?
Until the wine gets the right amount of flavors and aromas absorbed from the hops.
Sure.
Just like you put a tea bag in, you keep it in
right.
enough and you take it out. So then
and you can smell it. You can smell that it smells similar to like an IPA. Like when you're
it's like
you
a
smell
white
the
wine
hops.
and an IPA had a baby.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So
This is incredible.
We serve it on a kegerator, so it force carbonates it a little bit.
That's
So it
really
gives
good.
it a little
Yeah, you
bit
can
of that
taste it, yeah.
bubbliness to add
I
to
would
the
have never guessed that
variation.
these were the same. Wow, that's incredible.
But it's exactly the same wine as you just had. It was just like
This is so cool.
it's just winemaker style, application, and how it's served.
Is your winemaker like a mad scientist or
Yes.
what? I've never even
He's
heard of
a
anything like
deadhead.
this.
He's amazing.
That is really, really good. I love that.
Now we try to do some fun things like this. Like another thing we do is we have our wine we call Cleveland Rocks Christmas Red,
Ooh.
and it is a Cabernet, but we spice it with cinnamon, clove, and sweet orange peel. So it's kind of this mulled wine in a bottle kind of thing. And my concept of it is it's like the wine companion to like the Christmas ale and the
Sure.
12 bucks
Yeah,
of Christmas
yeah, for
and all that great Christmas beer that
We don't know anything about Christmas
You know,
beer, do
we got-
we?
the wine companion to it in the Cleveland Rocks Christmas Red. So
That's awesome.
we really are trying to, be true to that craft brewery style winery and just help people think about wine differently.
Sure.
Take the fear away, take the pretension away.
Yeah. That's so awesome. Now, how many of these do you guys have? I don't want to say like on tap, I guess, but what is your guys' normal lineup?
This is our normal
versus-
lineup.
okay.
We make about 15 different kinds of wine.
Wow.
We have all the time. And then like things like the anniversary red will pop in and out. We make a Gewürztraminer every year, but we only make about 50 gallons of that. So when it's gone, it's gone. We make a dry version of our Riesling, but we only make about 50 gallons of that. So
Okay.
we have little specials that
I
come
like
in
the
and out of the
exclusivity
menu.
of it. I like it.
Yeah. Well, it's mainly for our wine team.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was reading a little bit about that online. Can you tell us a little bit about the
Wine
club?
Club is one of the biggest, most important communities in this business. And I always say I call them VIPs because they are.
Yeah.
We have about 145, 150 members right now.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And,
That's incredible.
and it pretty much stays.
Yeah.
Most people in our club have been in the club 2 years or longer. And they really are our VIP customer family. And I do everything I can to treat them like gold.
Sure.
So they get all of the new releases first. Sometimes we do exclusive bottles for them. We'll do like magnum size double bottles sometimes for them. It's a $50 fee to join the wine club, and for that you get 2 bottles of wine. Like I said, some of them are exclusive, a lot of them are early releases, things like that. And then I have a party on the second week of every month, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And you come in, you bring a guest, and you sit down and we do a food pairing and wine tasting with the featured wines. So I always try to do like new and unique and unusual things that you wouldn't necessarily think. Like people think, wine and cheese or, charcuterie or something, but you don't necessarily think that a Syrah pairs beautifully with nacho cheese Doritos. Or you don't necessarily think that, rosé would pair really good with chocolate fudge Pop-Tarts. So
Are we moving to like Cleveland Heights now? Is that what's happening?
we're always trying to help.
Did we just
people.
join the wine club? I think that just happened.
I have an application with your name on it.
For
Yes.
sure.
What are some of the craziest pairing? Now you already had me with like nacho cheese Doritos, but what would be like the craziest pairing that you guys have done?
I know. I do this little wine tasting box also that you can buy on our website.
Oh, really?
It's kind of like when Governor DeWine allowed carry-out cocktails.
Right.
It's kind of my version of
Oh, what a
carry-out
great
cocktail.
idea!
That's awesome.
So they get 5 pours of the wine. Trying the Riesling now.
We are
This
trying
is
the
the
Riesling.
Riesling.
All right, so this is about 4% residual sugar, so it's got a little sweetness to it. We always get the juice for this from the vineyard called Walker's in New York State. It's like halfway between Erie and Buffalo.
Okay.
And it's, for me, it's like super tropical, pineapple-y. Riesling's a real acidic grape, so it's got that nice kind of pop of acid, but it's like biting a piece of pineapple. Pineapple's sweet, but it's still got that acid behind it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, this is the perfect example of Dave Mazzoni's genius. It's
Yeah.
that balance between the sweet and the acid.
Sure. I mean, all of these have been so smooth too.
Absolutely, and it's like as you're describing it, I can taste that too.
Yeah.
So like if you're listening, you get a really good feel for what this wine tastes like for sure. 'Cause
It's got like
Great job.
creaminess in it, like
Yeah.
banana,
Yeah.
mango. It's very tropical.
Well, it's great having you like describe exactly what it is, because you're right. I don't know if it's the power of suggestion. It could be all completely like.
That is totally true. That the power of suggestion does work, but I know what these wines taste like.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
I've had them once.
It's got to be so cool. Like we're slowly, very slowly soaking up a little bit more. Because same thing, we have no experience in the brewing process or anything, and we started this whole thing because we enjoy coming out to places like this and craft breweries and learning how people got their start and seeing like the passion that they have for this. And so it's got to be an awesome experience for you over the years to like understand all of this so much more. I could imagine, right?
I am a novice when it comes to wine. Like, before I opened this business, I would just go to the grocery store and I'd pick the
That's a
wine
pretty
that had
bottle.
the prettiest label.
Yep, yes.
That's normally how people pick wine.
Absolutely, right.
So I still don't know a lot about wine. I'm not a smart.
Well, you're fooling us. I'll tell you that.
But I know everything about my wine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
But in a way, I like to try to communicate in a way that you can understand. And like,
Sure.
it puts an image in your head,
Yeah.
or it
Yeah.
brings out an aspect of it that you wouldn't necessarily think. Like with this wine tasting box, that's funny enough.
Yeah.
So I started putting 5 different samples in 1.5 ounce test tubes. I get 5 little test tubes of wine, and then I do these little baggies of food pairings to go with. Like I did a piece of candied pineapple with that Riesling.
Oh, really?
Wouldn't that be a nice
That would be
little
great,
bite,
yeah.
right? I do Parmesan goldfish crackers with the Pinot Grigio. But the Sauvignon Blanc, I found these really beautiful limoncello white chocolate almonds that
Holy
I
cow.
put in there. Dried cranberries with the Pinot Noir, which is next. White chocolate yogurt covered pretzels with our peach Chardonnay. So you just have a little bite and a little test tube of wine,
Yeah.
and you can just sit with your friend and have this little box.
What an
Little
awesome
cake with wine
concept.
tasting. So you can get that on our website, CLEUrbanWinery.com.
That's awesome. That's a shameless plug.
Yep.
That's why we're here. That's what we're all about. No, that's awesome. And especially last year, I'm sure they made a killing doing that. If everybody to still have that fun experience only at home, they can come out and do something.
Yeah, and we do that for our wine club too. That was also another COVID invention. When we couldn't have our in-person wine club tastings and stuff, I do a little test tube of wine and some kind of little pairing that they can take home and have still have that tasting experience, because we want to still maintain that connection.
Yeah. Wow. Now, besides the wine club doing the tastings, do you guys offer any other like events like that, like wine education?
We always try to have some kind of little specialty flight. So we do have a Pop-Tart and wine flight right now on our menu.
And my wife was talking about that on the way here.
Yeah,
So I
so
want to try that.
we pair little Pop-Tart bites minis. So we do the strawberry frosted with that Riesling you just had.
Oh,
Very good. The brown sugar cinnamon with our Cabernet, and then with that sweet raspberry rosé, we do the chocolate punch. We did a Girl Scout cookie.
yes, I love that. There's been a couple breweries that have done that. Same thing.
We do Halloween candy and Valentine candy and wine pairing.
So cool.
That's a good idea.
It's just, again, it's just kind of like people see that and they're like, okay, I'm not afraid of Pop-Tarts.
Sure.
Right,
I'm
Right.
going to try.
No,
Awesome.
as someone from like in just saying, I don't think I can emphasize enough how little I know about wine.
How little he knows about beer, he knows even less about wine.
And how comfortable I am being in here and
Yeah.
like, because I'm not like dressed up or anything. Like Justin looks all dressed up in the camera, but like I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans, you know, and I'm not uncomfortable or intimidated at all being in here.
Right.
It's super nice, super
Yeah.
friendly. the wine is great
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm excited to try this Pinot Noir too.
Well, try the Pinot Noir, and I'll give you some.
Tell
some
us
tips
about this
wine
one.
tasting.
Oh,
Okay?
please.
So pour it in your glass.
I tell you what, I've learned like so much already. It's great. Please like smack this out of my hand if I'm doing it wrong.
Now, there's no, you can't do it.
I love
There's
that.
no way to do it.
She's so nice. She's too nice to us.
All right, so if you're going to taste wine, just remember the letter S. Like it's
Okay.
Okay.
So the first thing you want to do when you pour it in is the first S is C.
See?
So you've got some white paper there, so you can hold your glass to the side and kind of look at the color of the wine. You can see, is it clear? Is it cloudy? Is it, what does it kind of look like? Give it a look.
Sure.
Then you can see when you tip it, you see the little called legs
Yeah.
on the side of the glass.
That is the one wine term that I knew.
Well, all that legs really tell you is that it has alcohol.
Sure.
The more legs, the more thick and drippy they are, the more alcohol it is.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's got some good alcohol in it. It's probably like 12.5% or so. So you can kind of see that when you swirl it. So that's the next one is swirl. So
Swirl,
yeah,
right?
swirl. What that does is it just gets some air in it.
Sure.
And it opens up the aromas. It opens up the flavors. And you can also kind of see the legs too. So the next one is the sniff. So once you got some air in it,
Yeah.
stick your nose in it and give it a sniff.
See, I like reds. I don't know about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So you can smell the French oak on this, that vanilla kind of. I get the French oak on here, really.
Wow. That's so good.
So the next one is sip and switch. So when you're taking a sip of wine for the first time and you really want to taste it, take a sip of it and then swish it in your mouth like mouthwash. You want to get it like all over your taste.
Really?
Isn't that a different experience?
Definitely.
Honestly, that was kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it seems like such a small thing, but I've never ever done that.
No.
And that honestly,
Just get some more air in it. This is
Yeah.
if anybody's listening at home right now and has a glass of wine, please do this because I can't like words can't describe. It's honestly so different.
When I said swish it around like mouthwash, you know exactly what to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were crazy, but wow, that is awesome. That's so
now
cool.
you can kind of get that, put it all over your
Yeah.
taste buds and have that nice tart black cherry flavor. And then also, it's got that long, what they call finish. Like it just kind of stays on your tongue for a while.
Yeah.
It does.
It's got a beautiful head.
Wow.
And then the last S is swallow.
Oh, of course, right. I'm gonna skip this step.
Or spit. Like sometimes when you see.
Heard of that? That sounds like alcohol abuse to me.
Well, it has its purposes. Like if you're tasting a bunch of different kinds of wine, you
Sure.
don't necessarily want to swallow everything because then your palate's everything's gonna taste the same after.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So by tasting it and then spitting it out, it keeps your palate from fatiguing. But also, if you're tasting a lot of wine, you're gonna get shit faced after a while.
Yeah,
sure.
right.
You don't necessarily want to drink everything.
Right,
so that's
right.
why they do it. But I'm more of a fan of swallowing wine.
You know what? I agree.
If you just remember the letter S, you could be on a date. You got, they give you that little taste of wine, and you look at it, and you swirl it around, and then you sip it, and you switch it around, and you're pour.
See, I always have.
So great, you'll totally swirl.
I love that now. I'm gonna be showing off so much.
So right.
So easy.
And I've always had the person when they first open up the bottle of wine and have you taste it. I'm like, yeah, it's wine.
It's okay.
I'm like, sure is.
But now you can look up.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna really know. I'm gonna make the waiter a little nervous this time.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna take my time with it. I'm gonna really play it out.
You said this was 76.
Yeah, we're like, hold on.
It's very impressive.
Oh, that's awesome. What do you have here, Lace?
The Pop-Tart.
Oh my gosh, the Pop-Tart pairing. How cute are those? That is so awesome. I'm 100% sure that my wife is going to kill me for not being here.
For sure.
She's the wine drinker of the two, and she loves whites. I drink reds primarily, but she doesn't, which means we drink white, of course.
You said you're happily married.
Exactly. But gosh, these were all incredible so far. So it's amazing. I love that idea too.
So this is our Merlot, I think.
We have the Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh, you have the cab here?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Seatown. Seatown.
While we're pouring here, I do want to mention that we got here with this little shout out. My twin sister is behind us, and
Oh, that's right.
Her new husband, Brian, just got married.
Oh yeah, congrats to the newlyweds. Yeah.
But their first date was here at CLE Winery. It was here, and her husband Brian actually lived upstairs to this place.
Did you really?
Yeah, that's why they came here with us tonight.
I remember them talking about that.
The episode and check it out.
That is odd. No, I thought they said they lived above like a pizzeria or something.
And the pizzeria is right there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they live. Ryan lived right upstairs here.
That is so awesome. I did not know that. I remember because we did the episode with them. They told us about it, that they lived over in this area.
Well, I've had at least 2 or 3 people get engaged here.
Really?
I've had several weddings here now. So
that's awesome.
We do a
for
ton
sure.
of like private parties.
I was gonna say, what kind of events do you guys normally do?
Great space for a private party because it's
It
such a
is,
big,
absolutely.
you know.
And there's a lot of comfortable seating up front. You can't see it from here, but there's like 3 couches up front or more of space to sit in too.
Yeah.
And I tried to, especially with COVID, I tried to design the seating so they're groups of 2 or 4. This is a big table here, but it's right by an open garage door, so there's a lot of circulation.
Yeah, like open air, right?
And you can rent this little space back here, like during our business hours,
Okay.
for $25.
Oh my
Set up
gosh.
tables, you can bring in food, we'll set up food tables for you, kind of have this semi-private area to yourself. And then we do private events, like before we go to like the 12 to 4 slot on the weekends, or even during the week in the evenings as well. The Friday and Saturday nights are a little more expensive, of course, because we normally are busy on those nights.
For sure.
But on a Saturday from 12 to 4, for example, you can rent the space out. It's a $50 reservation fee and $500 bar menu.
Wow.
And that's it. You can bring in your own decorations. You can bring in a music playlist for our Bluetooth speaker. You can bring in a DJ. You can bring in whatever food you want to bring in. And it's just such a nice like canvas for a bridal shower, for a baby shower. I got an engagement party last Saturday. We do birthday parties. Mixers, all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. So anybody who had their events canceled because of last year and are rescheduling now, if you haven't already, make sure you add this to your list of places to check
Our
out.
August was just
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Do you guys do like food trucks or anything back here by like the door at all?
It's kind of touchy about food trucks.
Sure. Yeah, every area is a little different.
Because they want to protect the brick and mortar restaurant, so they're really anti-food truck. But this is Dewey's parking lot over there, and then this is apartment parking. So we don't really have any outdoor seating or outdoor. But because we have the big garage door in the back where the cars used to go out after they were finished, we have the big door in the front where the cars would drive in.
Yeah.
It really has, to me, it has kind of like a covered patio feel.
It really does, yeah.
But we don't have any outdoor seating.
It was a good breeze like coming through. You can feel the airflow through here at all.
Tons of parking at the parking lot of the CLE too. You know, like that's where I park. If I'll walk there, it's pretty close.
There's a little car.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to. I also installed that UV light filtration systems in the HVAC.
Oh, fantastic.
For bacteria and virus, protection.
Awesome.
So I went to that extra length as well because we're in indoor space.
Yeah, right. Fantastic.
And I just
But yeah, absolutely. It just goes to show. This place is awesome. Honestly, every time we go places, I feel like we're just like saying like nice things about it. But honestly, this is one of the coolest establishments I've been in a long time.
Absolutely.
It
So
is
you
awesome.
probably noticed all the graffiti. So
It's very cool.
Yeah, I love everything on the wall and
that
on here.
goes back to the Great Wine and Duca. So I really have looked for some big. I do a lot of charitable things, but I really look for some major community type partnerships from a philanthropic perspective. And the first one that I found and that has been read through this whole business is Graffiti Heart. So they're over there. So Graffiti Heart stood up right about the same time we did.
Really?
And this mural that's above the winery, that was one of their first murals that they ever did.
Really?
So Bob Peck, if you're familiar with his work, is kind of very like modern and futuristic kind of stuff. He designed that mural, he painted, posted it, and then there's another artist that came in to paint the middle part. Actually, I have a GoPro video on my website of the mural being painted. But that was one of the first murals that was ever commissioned by a graffiti artist. Since we met that way, we've been working together and doing fundraisers together. And
Sure.
you know, we've raised tens of thousands of dollars together in this foundation.
Incredible.
They had 3 big fundraisers here. They now have their own gallery on South Superior.
Oh, fantastic.
I donated, they're doing a big, an artist named Wordsmith is coming in to do like a whole series of murals through the city
Wow.
over the next week or so. So I donated mine to their opening party and to their closing party. So I do a lot of philanthropic stuff for each artist. I love what they do. And these murals were all commissioned through graffiti. So I just did this garage door. So I wanted to kind of freshen the place up. But it's kind of like a tattoo sleeve now. You know, like I have that white space in front that's bugging me.
Right, you got to fill it in. Yeah. I wouldn't know anything about that at all. Yeah, no. Of having open space. Oh, that's so cool. I've always thought that too, because there is this like small nagging thing in the back of my head of like, I would love to do something like this one day, you know? Sure. And I thought the same thing. And you only see it a couple of places that like, instead of coming through and throwing wallpaper up or just painting, like, why not have like local art students or something like that come through and be able to like use this as a blank canvas? Yeah, I love that. That's such a great idea.
This garage door here. He did
oh wow, I didn't even see that whole thing.
Also, he also did some vinyl records for me up in the front. You saw that.
I saw those when I was coming in. Yeah.
Graffiti records that I make a nice little display in the front.
Yeah.
I was selling those on consignment for a while, but then COVID hit, and then I just bought it.
I'm sure Lacey's having a field day here, taking photos. For sure. Everywhere you turn, there's something new and really cool. As I'm looking around, I'm noticing everything, even a little bit more when we first came in. But you mentioned you've donated some bottles of wine to different places. Do you guys do any distribution at all, or where can people kind of find if they were looking for CLE Urban Winery wines? Where would they find them?
I make the most money if you buy the wine here.
Well, we want you to come here anyway, so we want to come hang out.
We do distribute our wines. Our distributor is Euro Fine Wine. It's a mid-sized distributor. We're the only local wine in their book.
Oh, very cool.
So they do a lot of like high-end European wines and things like that. They also distribute gourmet food as well. Okay. So they're wonderful. We've been working with them for about 3 years now. And Heinen's is our biggest client when it comes to distribution. So, all of the Heinen's in Northeast Ohio carry our wines. Not every Heinen's has every wine all the time. The different individual wine buyers pick and choose what their customers ask for and like. Okay. But you can go to the wine buyer at your local Heinen's and ask for any of our wines and they can review it because they have access to the whole wine.
Oh, that's great.
And then our wines are like at Rosie's and Lakewood. And they're, red wine and Bruin Manor. And they're all kind of around, that's little places here and there. A few restaurants, Rowley Inn, over by the Christmas Story House. They carry our wines exclusively. And they have for years and years. The new haunted house restaurant here in Cleveland Heights.
That is like the biggest thing right now. That's all I hear. Oh, good for you.
So, there's some places like that. Rebar down on East 9, they carry our wines exclusively. So we don't do a lot of distribution. I say probably 20% of our sales volume is wholesale. Okay. But it's a great calling card, and it's a way to get the wine out. We don't really distribute right now outside of Northeast Ohio. Mm-hmm. This wine, it's meant to be a local brand, so it's not really meant to compete on national shelves.
Sure. Yeah, and I think you get people here, local, distributing locally too.
Yeah. So I do have a license to sell anywhere in Ohio. So with these fruit wines, you're going to taste the blackberry alone in a minute. It's
I cannot wait.
We're talking about doing something maybe bigger and more dynamic with the fruit wines too in other parts of Ohio. Okay. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, we do some distribution.
Awesome. Well, I love the idea too of trying to keep it like a local brand here and really feeding like the actual brick and mortar.
My long-term vision for the business was that you could pick this place up and plunk it down in Columbus and call it Seabus Urban Winery, and just change these for names and pictures of places in Columbus. Yeah. And have the same look and feel, the same prep dress, the same concept. Cincinnati or Pittsburgh or Detroit or Indianapolis or towns like that in the Rust Belt, I think it would be perfect for us.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
That was one of my questions. Are there any plans at all, at least in this part, as far as expansion, either in this area or other areas?
I don't know. I mean, the pandemic threw everybody a curveball.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm grateful to still be in business.
Right. Right.
And actually, the pandemic really forced me to take this business to its steps and rebuild it.
Really?
And I redid my website, and our whole online sales strategy and some other things, and restructured our debt and all kinds of stuff like that. So the business is actually pretty stable.
Yeah.
But it's going to take me years to get back to the same revenue level I was before this. Yeah.
Right.
It's going to take a while to claw that back. So I'm going to focus on the brick and mortar. I think I'd like to do more education, wine education.
Sure.
I have an idea for an urban wine school. I wanted to launch it online, but when I was ready to launch it, everybody was so sick of Zoom and so sick of online that it wasn't the right time. So I pulled it back. But I would like to do some more classes here. Just like Wine 101 kind of.
Yeah.
How do you open a bottle of champagne? How do you pick a bottle of wine going to a party when it's a wall of wine and you don't even know where to start? What's the difference between French wine and California? Just this very basic kind of knowledge thing to help you get a vocabulary and be able to, look cool and smart.
Oh, yeah, right. No, I mean,
that's the whole point.
I love that. I mean, the approachability here almost breeds the confidence to do that,
And then,
it
we've
starts
done
with the
some classes
education.
for young professionals, too, because like you said, you don't automatically wake up one day and know a lot about wine, but you're going to go out to a business dinner and your boss says, "Oh, choose a bottle of wine from the table."
Sure, yeah.
Moscato for everybody. That's probably not the right way to go.
Right.
But it just gives you some tools and some products. So I'm hoping that this fall I can slowly launch some more of that education stuff.
Sure.
That's a facet of the business I'd like to evolve in.
Yeah.
As far as second locations or other cities, that's more of a pipe dream right now, just because everything is so uncertain.
Right.
I'm just gonna kind of hold it down for a while and see what happens.
Smart right now, like you
Focus
said.
on the brick and mortar
Lucky
here.
to get through the last year that unfortunately not everybody was.
But I think that at the end of the day, this business is eminently repeatable in every city. So I think the idea is sound. It's just we'll have to see what happens.
Right.
And if I'm, I'm so tired.
Well, clearly you're having fun just being here.
I'll be 57 this month.
Oh my gosh, good for you. I don't believe you, but good for you.
Yeah, it's true. So, I'm getting kind of tired. So how much more runway do I really have, before I want to be retired on peace?
Sure.
But, I'm taking it, especially now, taking it one day at a time.
Right.
Because, I don't know, you can't be an entrepreneur and not be a control freak and not be like a type A person. You would not survive.
Yeah.
So, one thing that I've learned in this pandemic is that there's no control anything. There's nothing.
Sure.
Everything is out of my control. I can't fix it. I can't fix this.
For sure.
So either I can carry it and make myself crazy and branch myself out of the ground, or I can put it down. I just focus on that one thing I can, do or can fix, and that works pretty good. So I'm just taking it one day at a time.
That's awesome. You mentioned the entrepreneurship too of starting a business like this, which we've seen over the past couple of years, especially in Cleveland and in areas like this. Tons of new businesses starting up and blossoming. So, and you mentioned a few things that you learned throughout the pandemic, but was there anybody in particular that you want to talk about or kind of give a shout out that was influential in getting this off the ground, or lessons learned in starting the whole process, or even from beginning to now?
Well, I didn't know really anything about running a business when I started this business.
Sure.
And I don't know if anybody really does.
Yeah, right. They may say they do, but
Cleveland, though, is a great place to be an entrepreneur because there's so many so many resources, and so much support.
Yeah.
Things like the Small Business Development Center in Cleveland State, phenomenal resources for small business owners, or whether they're starting up or in the thick of it, or so many great resources. I went through the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small
I've heard
Business
about,
Owners
yes, absolutely.
through Tri-C. And that was great. That was a 4-month program where I went to school like once a week.
Yeah.
Really studied a growth plan to grow your business. But I think the most impactful thing that I've come across is the entrepreneurs organization. It's called EO.
Okay.
I'm in their accelerator program, EOA, and I'm coming up on my 4th year in EOA. And it's basically, it's a learning program. It's a accountability program. I mean, you have groups, accountability groups, where you work on things, you share that, what they call it 5%, that absolute master, that absolute works. Because
Yeah.
you're with people who understand and that walk a mile in those things every day. And it's really, it's almost like entrepreneur training and therapy all at once. And it's really been a wonderful community.
Yeah.
Because EO, the parent of the higher level organization, is entrepreneurs whose companies net more than $1 million. These are the 4% of all businesses that ever start.
Sure. Right.
So, accelerator program, we aspire to them.
Yeah.
You know, and they get mentors and support and training and accountability, and it's just really bad, especially during this pandemic, like trying to figure out what PPE was all about and how to make it flexible.
Oh, right.
You know, having that kind of support network has been really helpful.
That's awesome. We hear that every time we ask that question too, that in this industry, whether it's beer or wine or whatever it is, and specifically probably this area in Northeast Ohio, is just, there's so many resources if you're just okay to say, hey, I need some help, you know, or hey, I want to start this, and the minute you raise your hand, there's 10 other people in line ready to help.
Yeah,
Right.
the Women's Business Center, there's another one.
Sure.
Yeah, Growth Capital. There's
Yeah.
so many places that have helped me along the way, but it didn't fall in my lap.
Right. Oh, I'm sure.
Look for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Reach out for it, but it's there.
Yeah.
And I've lived in a lot of places in my Navy career, in my civilian career, and there's nothing like this. I mean, this incubator for entrepreneurs I think is really special.
Yeah. We have like a little bubble right here. It is awesome.
And it's not just the support that you get from organizations, training, and capital and stuff like that, but it's also the people who live here. And
Sure.
that support local is kind of like a, everybody says it, but then they really
I feel like
mean it,
Cleveland
you know?
really
I mean,
lives
Cleveland,
it,
they
you know?
They really do. They mean it.
Yeah.
They really mean it. They really do it. And not just once, but every single day.
Sure.
And it's just a really unique combination of factors that I don't want to say it makes it easy to start and run a business, but
Yeah.
it really
It's kind of a
helps.
perfect storm.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, right. If you're gonna do it, this is the place to do it.
It really helps. I could have never done this in Northern Virginia outside of DC.
Sure.
A, I would have never been able to afford it.
Yeah. Well.
And B, it would have been it's dog-eat-dog competition.
Yeah.
Right.
Like even here on Lee Road, there's a lot of mom-and-pop kind of businesses here on Lee Road. And
Sure.
we all are very supportive of each other.
Sure.
You know, and we all kind of understand that the rising tide raises all the boats. And, you know, we work together.
That's gonna be a clip we're gonna pull. What a great line! You can't just casually pass that off. That was so
That's
smooth.
not mine.
I love it. We're crediting you for it. So. Well, I waited.
I said it.
I wanted to wait for the Blackberry Merlot because I want to hear about it before I try it.
We sell more of this wine than anything. We have 3 what I call our sweet wines. We have our hometown heroes peach Chardonnay, which is a rye oak Chardonnay that we add a peach concentrate to. And that's named in honor of our veterans and first responders. And I do donate a portion of the proceeds from that wine to local organizations,
Fantastic.
first responder organizations, wherever I can. So that's our kind of sweet white. We have our Rust Belt Rosé, which is a white Zinfandel with raspberry. So it's got this kind of fun, cool, sweet and tart kind of flavor to it.
Yeah.
And then this Buckeye Blackberry Merlot. So this is a dry Merlot, very lightly oaked. And then the winemaker adds a blackberry concentrate to it right before it's bottled. So it gives it a really, give it a
Oh yeah, we
swirl.
got to go through our
Yeah,
essence,
right.
Lee. Do you remember?
Give it a swirl. And then
Well, hold on. I didn't see it first. Go look at it.
So it's got a nice kind of light kind of body to it, right? It's not super heavy. But it's still not a lightweight wine. It's only about 12%.
Oh wow, yeah, you get that. Yeah, very sweet.
So you think it's going to be really sweet when you drink it, but on the palate, it's got this kind of like the underpinning of the rye, but it doesn't have the bitterness like of the Cabernet, that bitter tannin.
Right, the mixed pucker, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very good. It doesn't make it pucker, I would say.
Wow.
That's very good.
So that's why I call it Kool-Aid for adults.
It really, that is the best description too.
And this wine is best paired with Reese's peanut butter.
Oh my gosh, man.
So good.
Where's my wine club contract?
It's all peanut butter and jelly.
It's funny you say that. My wife's from upstate New York and used to live there, which is another big wine region, right? And we fell in love with another sweet red. It was made with Concord grapes. So it tasted like Welch's grape juice or the normal like peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you know. And this almost has that little bit of nostalgia to it, you know. When you drink it, when you said the adult Kool-Aid, like you almost like step back a little bit when you have it.
Right. It brings to mind that peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
It really does, yeah. Oh, this is
But I have to say, a Concord grape will never darken the door of this place.
Oh no, this is so much better.
Yeah.
No, this is so good. Mm.
I always thought Concord grapes were from jelly.
Right.
This is my opinion. So isn't that fun?
Wow, that was awesome.
So now you kind of really saw a nice assortment.
Oh yeah.
Really what that good wine made fun is all about. So you see there's literally something for everybody.
Oh, sure. And none of these have been like in your face too. All of them are like very, very light. They're
They're
not.
meant to be
They're not like
drank.
super punchy. Yeah.
Very drinkable. It's not like it's like a very like I don't know, harsh is the right word for it, but like.
Oh, it doesn't grab you at all. None of
It
them.
doesn't have to breathe
And
for an hour
nothing's like
before
that.
you
Nothing's
drink it.
like that, right? It
No.
was all so good and so.
It almost lends to
So
like
good.
the atmosphere like this, where we just go like hang out at the bar, you know, and have a couple glasses of
It
wine.
absolutely does.
And that's very
Versus
much
like the
fine.
stuffing and
Yeah, absolutely.
everything seems very intentional for sure. Definitely. Wow. Well, I only have a few more questions for you here, and I appreciate you telling us so much about this. I had no idea we were going to get this far into like the wine education, and I'm so happy that we did. Really. The few, I think we have 2 or 3 that we always like to ask anybody, regardless of who we're sitting down with. And one of which I tried to push you a little bit on like the expansion, but what secret plans do you have coming on, whether it's a new release or I know an event or anything like that? What is like the behind the scenes that you have going on in the future that nobody else knows about?
Yeah, I actually got 2.
It's gonna be breaking news for everybody.
Well, we haven't had really any dessert wines for a long time.
Okay.
We made ice wine 3 years ago. Was the last time we made it. It's the only thing we made from Ohio grapes. We get our ice wine grapes from Loretta vineyards.
Okay.
And this year we got some, but the last 2 years before that, the conditions weren't right, and it just wasn't, so we decided not to do it.
Yeah.
We did get some this year, so we'll be releasing our ice wine called Lake Effect Snow.
Love it. Great
We're
name.
releasing that next month.
Ooh, all right.
Later this month, early next month.
Yeah.
So it's, and the way my winemaker makes it, typically an ice wine is almost like syrup, right?
Sure.
About 16% residual sugar. But my winemaker likes to use a strain of yeast that's a little more robust.
Okay.
So what that does, it allows the yeast to eat a little more sugar because they eat themselves to death.
Yeah, right.
And like starting at 30-some bricks, they eat themselves to death at 16% or less. So this allows them to eat a little more of the sugar, creates a little more alcohol, so the ice wine's a little more viscous. It's not quite as syrupy and fizzy.
Okay.
And it's also, this strain of yeast also brings out more aromatics than the big alcohol. So where an ice wine will typically really taste like sugar, these ice wine tastes more like honeysuckle. Like it's more floral.
Interesting.
It's just really, really lovely. So our wine club will get it first. We'll release it to them on the 10th of August when we have our wine club. And I always like to serve it over ice cream for them. Ice wine is an ice cream like sundae topping.
Really?
It's phenomenal.
I've never heard of that.
It cuts the sweetness.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I serve it over vanilla ice cream with a little caramel sauce and heat topping things. Yeah.
Oh.
And then just today, my winemaker.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I got enough time to sign up for the wine club between now and then, right?
Yeah, absolutely. My wine club, my winemaker gave me a sample of this port that we've been making.
Ooh,
First time
okay.
I've never made a port before.
Really?
It's a pumpkin spice port, and when I smelled it, I was like, it smelled dry, but then I had a sip of it, and that like raisiny, fortified. Oh my God, this port is going to be amazing. So we're still working on the label concept. We're still working on what to call it, but this port is going to rock people's world.
Yeah.
So those are some new serve wines that we've been tinkering with and working on. They're almost ready. We're working on our 2021 Beaujolais Nouveau. We always make a tribute to Beaujolais Nouveau. Are you familiar with the story?
I've been doing really well of like nodding and making it through things I don't understand, but that one caught me completely.
Okay, so-
I can't even. People are going to call me out if I go, oh yeah, absolutely, right.
Well, Beaujolais is a region of France.
Okay.
And every year when they harvest the wine, they'll ferment it, and then the French government allows them on the fourth Thursday of November every year, allows them to release it. So it's like really
Interesting.
young. So they call it Nouveau, Beaujolais Nouveau, the new wine from Beaujolais. And it's become like a thing. Beaujolais Nouveau Day in Europe, people take the day off and just drink Beaujolais until they pass out.
Oh, beautiful.
So we make, if they could do it in France, we decided we could do it in Cleveland. So we make our own version of Beaujolais Nouveau every year. So it's really light and fruity and, fun wine made with handmade grapes. We'll be releasing our 5th version of that.
Oh, okay.
Third Thursday of November. Is Beaujolais Nouveau. So we're starting to work on that. And then we're bringing back our Premier Reserve. We call it CLE Urban Wine.
Okay.
With the same logo as CLE Urban Winery.
Yeah.
Our wine. And it's a bourbon barrel aged red blend.
All right, there we go. That's
Right.
we found another one for us.
We get barrels from the distillery in Chicago.
Okay.
So we get the barrels when they're just empty. So we back in the cellar here, we have a barrel of Syrah, a barrel of Cabernet, and a barrel of Merlot. And blend all those three together. It's still going to be in the bourbon barrel for another probably 4 months.
Wow.
But that'll be coming out probably in November.
Very cool.
So we have some fun stuff.
Yeah, a lot of exciting things coming out. Awesome. Now, is there any recipe or any types of wine that you guys carried early on that you don't carry anymore that you'd like to see make a comeback?
When we very first opened, we used to do a Viognier.
Okay.
And Viognier is a grape that grows like crazy in Virginia.
Really?
Yeah, because Virginia is kind of like latitude-wise, it's kind of very similar to France, South France. So Viognier just grows really crazy there. It's kind of like a cross between the Pinot Grigio and the Chardonnay. It's kind of like right in that same kind of, dry white kind of realm. It's very floral and herbaceous. So we called it Shoreway Viognier. And we haven't made that for probably at least 3 years.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun to do that again. But we're doing new things like we make it for eating a Ritzkerbieter. So this Ritzkerbieter is kind of a new wine that we make here and there. So I don't know if there's room for the Viognier anymore, but I do miss it.
That's awesome. I love that you guys are always trying new things and like experimenting.
We want to just expand people's
Already, my wine knowledge and just like open-mindedness is blown away right now. Yeah. There was one question.
Come in and sit at the bar, and I'll tell you the same stuff.
Oh my gosh, he lives a little further away, but I'm really not too far away from here. So, like I said, my wife's going to see this and she's going to listen to it. Maybe sometimes she listens, sometimes she doesn't. But she's going to see this and know that we're here, and we'll be here all the time.
Well, you can bring her in. I'll give you guys the VIP.
Beautiful. Now, I had a question just looking on this, and this is just coming from ignorance. How long is the normal process? I'm sure each wine is a little bit different, and some you may hold on to longer than others. But on average, how long is the process from start to finish for you guys?
Well, you kind of asked about what's the difference between an urban winery and like a regular winery. So the typical winery or vineyard is going to grow grapes, all summer. Then they're going to harvest. Then they're going to crush. Then they're gonna put the wine, they're gonna ferment, and they're gonna keep the wine, and then they're gonna release the vintage from last year at the spring. So it's kind of like this cycle of crush, make wine, release. So we don't do that. So you'll know. I don't know if you know this, but there's no vintage dates on any of our labels. We don't track by vintage.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we make the wine based on how long it takes to make, how fast it sells. And we just constantly try to keep the supply. So each wine has its own kind of life cycle.
Right.
Like these fruit wines, like this blackberry merlot, we're making that all the time. Like the minute we finish one bottle, one batch, and another one going.
Wow.
And we make that right now. We're making it like 1,000 liters at a time, but we're going to 2,000 liter tanks because we need more.
Wow.
For sure, we need more. So that takes about 8 to 10 weeks, start to finish. For those, more light, fruitier wines.
Sure.
Riesling, we'll get the Riesling juice at the harvest, typically like October, November, and then they'll go into fermentation. Same thing with Chardonnay and the Pinot Grigio, and that'll be released sometime in the spring. So it'll take like 5 to 6 months.
Wow.
And the red wines, we'll have some in the bottle, have some in the barrels aging, and then we'll have some that's like we're just getting ready for it. So we do like buy grapes at the harvest sometimes. Like I actually have a great contract with a vineyard in Washington State called Kendall Farms right now for Chardonnay and Pinot Gris. So like a section of their vineyard is literally lost.
It's gonna be so cool to say. Come on, you can admit it. It's gotta be awesome.
So they harvest, they crush it for us. They send Dave like the particulars,
party's going on over there. Woohoo!
It's that Pop-Tart flight.
That's what it is,
So they'll send us like the bricks and the pH and all the.
Turn this down a little.
Winemaker will say, yeah, that's good, and then it's in a tote, not a refrigerated truck. It's here 3 days later. It's under fermentation. So you can't get much fresher than that unless I brew it myself.
Right.
But we also buy grape juice through brokers, and we'll buy it on the bulk market.
Okay.
Because it's an agricultural product, right?
Sure.
Grape juice, grapes are an agricultural product. We don't deal with any of the actual fruit. It's crushed here, because it's just too messy in the.
Let somebody else handle it.
We don't have really the way to dispose of, the waste and things like that.
Right.
It's all processed for us before we get it.
Wow.
We can basically, because of the network of vineyards and then brokers that Dave has from his professional career on the West Coast, we're able to really access good quality materials year round. So we get pretty much all of our ingredients from either California or Washington State.
Okay.
The only exception being the reason we always go to that vineyard.
Gotcha.
I love that pineapple-y, product that it produces, so we just go back there over and over.
Well, it gives you the bonus of being able to get things from different places too. You're not limited to like these places. Like
if there's a hailstorm or there's some bad weather and your grapes, you're screwed, right?
That's a good point.
So we can get it anywhere. Like all those fires in California.
Right.
We didn't have to necessarily go to California. We could go to Washington State.
Wow.
Instead for our source. So it's really flexible. And we can really focus on quality and price and availability. And as long as we have to plan very carefully, and we usually don't run out. Sometimes we do. But we usually are able to keep these wines in stock all the time because of that process. And every wine has its own life.
Sure. Very.
So we just kind of learned it, tweaked it over time.
Yeah.
For sure. We've gotten it down. Now, COVID threw us for a loop.
Right.
So we weren't necessarily, we were still producing wine, bottling wine during the time we were closed down and all of that. But we kind of, not knowing what would happen, we kind of like drank our inventory down, a little bit. And we've spent most of the last 6 months like building it back up. So we're hoping by the end of the year to really get back to a really stable, inventory levels and all of that.
Sure.
And then we'll think about what we want to do more of, like taking these fruit wines to other parts of Ohio or doing other things. We'll see if we're ready to take that next step. We're getting ready to invest in some new equipment. I'll take you for a little tour.
Yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, we'd love to see.
But our bottling process is half automated, half manual, and then we have bottle fillers and corking machines, and we have we have a monoblock piece of equipment that does the capsuling and the labeling
Okay.
of the bottles, and that's been a godsend to help us with our efficiency. But we really need one that does automatic rinsing the bottles, filling the bottles beforehand.
Yeah.
So I'm not only looking to buy bigger tanks for higher production of our fruit wine, but also to bring in more automation.
Gotcha.
Because as we do more bottles, we did 8,000 gallons of wine last year, so that's about 40,000 bottles
Incredible.
out of this little tiny room right here.
Wow.
So we're doing a lot of volume.
Yeah.
But it's pretty manual, a lot of it. So bringing in more automation is going to allow us to be more efficient.
Continue to scale. Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But it's a big box, so.
Yeah, I did it. Did you ever go to over where your mom's shop is at in Painesville? It's called Your Vine or Mine.
Yes.
You ever go to that place?
I know. I've been in there.
Yeah, it was a very small. It was like family run. It was, I mean, maybe an eighth of the size of here. Very, very small. But they had the opportunity where you could go through and like bottle your own wine. You know, you picked out what you wanted to do. You would bring it in. You got to bottle it, make your own label and everything. So on the very smallest scale, I know a little bit about how to fill it and put a label and all that. So I can totally understand. Like
part of the wine education, thing I'd like to do. I'd love to do some wine making. It's hard to figure out the right way to do it. But rather than like just having people make their own batch, because there's some businesses that already do that.
Sure.
I'd love to do something where we can help the existing urban winemakers that are making a Krampus recipe in the basement up their game.
Oh wow, what a great concept.
We can help them learn to rack more efficiently.
Yeah.
Yeast selection or
So like a
chemical analysis.
It's
a wine 2.0.
Yeah, like bring that urban winemaking community out of the basement and help them create something that's more refined or tastes better, or whatever,
That's awesome.
So that's kind of in the background.
Wow. Ali, do you want to ask your favorite question? I'll finish with mine, and then we'll put a little bow on it.
My question is not actually going to have a part two. Because
I know, right? It's so funny. I know when we have these conversations, like everybody has no idea what the hell we're talking about.
I asked this question when I say, if you were an RC, what would you have asked? But you have talked so much about all these things you're so passionate about. It's awesome. Is there anything that we missed that we should have asked?
Oh wow!
I know it's a great question. It always catches everybody off guard, though. It's such a good question. But exactly. So we're. A little bit of background about us, right, as you think of an answer. So we started this in the middle of the pandemic in November of last year. So we missed coming out to places like this and going up to the bar and picking the brain of the bartender or the owner or the brewer or the winemaker, because that's just what we've always enjoyed doing. We love sitting down and just hearing about the process. So we miss being able to do this, and we miss being able to go out and shoot shit over, having a drink or two. And I think that some of the best conversations, some of the best ideas happen over a glass of wine, or sitting at the bar and having a beer and writing something on a napkin. Some of the best inspirations happen in these relaxed moments. So we started this to bring that back when it got taken away from us. So in that, we're kind of learning this as we go along, and we're always looking to get better. So anybody for the next time that we sit down, what would be, a question that we should have asked or something that we didn't go over that we should have, I guess.
I don't know. I think, your questions were good, and I've got my spiel.
For sure. It was down.
I was going to say, of everybody we sat down, you're probably the most prepared. Well, because we've had this conversation before on because we gave you no prompting. There's been zero, you had no idea what you were sitting down to. We grabbed you out of the back 3 seconds. Well, hey, sit down. All right, we're going live. Here we go. Exactly, right. And of everybody that we've sat down with, you've definitely had everything just ready to go.
Well, I think that my background is so varied and diverse, but, and I have an education in business and management. And,
sure, it definitely shines through.
For sure.
Marketing and all of that. So that's one thing that I've been able to really use.
Yeah, it's a great asset, right?
In this phase of my life, and earned media is really important to my business because I don't have much of a marketing budget. So anytime that I can have a chance to tell my story or to meet people or to I'll take it. I'll take it all day long. So I've had a lot of good practice, and I'm very grateful for it. Opportunities to share the story, and this is fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of
We're
fun.
constantly blown away with how open everybody is in this industry.
Well,
For
I
us
think-
saying, hey, we want to come out and like learn your story. And everybody's like, absolutely, come on down. And
And I think it's too a Northeast Ohio thing. I don't know
Sure.
if you try to go outside the region,
right.
but there's something really special about this craft beverage industry. It's just really great. It's very open, it's very laid back, but it's very professional.
Sure.
It's good quality, it's high quality, and it's just real. Like when I got my liquor license 5.5 years ago, there was about 175 active wineries in Ohio. My last check, there's like over 400.
Oh my
Wow,
gosh.
really? In
Yeah.
just that short time?
It's exploding.
I thought the
And-
175 was a high number.
You know,
which is
breweries
bad.
have gone
Oh, yeah, right.
crazy
That's
too,
yeah, it's
but
exploding.
wineries have really gone crazy. And this urban concept is something that is catching on, you know, in other parts of the country and
Sure.
even around here. But I always kind of wanted this place to be like the Great Lakes Brewery of wine.
Yeah.
You know, I always kind of expected there to be more places like this that would pop up,
Yeah.
but I always kind of wanted to be that setup, that like bar setup.
Yes.
You know, where
Sure.
Great Lakes is the granddaddy.
Yeah.
For sure. Forever, right?
We've got that.
There's tons of wonderful breweries, but Great Lakes is, you know, got
sure.
that, you know, the granddaddy kind of on it.
Right. When you're not from the area, you think of craft beer and you think of Cleveland. That's what you think of.
Yeah,
So I kind of want to
Right.
be
Yeah.
that way for the wineries.
That's awesome.
Be the Great Lakes Brewery.
Well, clearly you're doing something right. I mean, it really seems like you have it down. And if you haven't noticed, we are the kings of segues into new. This one's been a lot smoother though. It's been a while. But I have one last question for you, and it has absolutely nothing to do with anything we've talked about.
And this is how this question always happens, so you're not the first
There's
one.
never been a good segue to
there,
this.
there isn't.
Maybe Keith at like Hoppy Dudes, maybe. But it's when we were talking about this, and the whole idea of the podcast really had. We didn't have a structure in craft beer or
Nothing.
winery or anything. We really just started this as like an excuse to sit down and talk to people.
Yeah.
And so we're like, what question can we ask anybody from like any walk of life, any profession that everybody kind of has a connection to, I guess, or like a root founding in? And that is, I have no idea what this question is going to be. I love it. What musical album do you put on and never hit skip, right? You just put on, you know, from track 1 to the end, whether you drop the needle on the record, put the CD in, whatever it is. It could be favorite of all time or what you're listening to now. But what album is kind of the perfect album from start to finish?
At least it's having a good spiel, like giving people some time now. So
Yeah.
there's no real segue, but we've gotten like this going back and forth of like giving you some time.
Yeah, right. We've been able to like talk it up and like ask the question over 5 minutes.
Right.
To give you a little bit away because there is no segue to it.
Right.
But it's awesome for us, like something like this, like we expand our, like that's how our friendship started over like movies and music and beer. And that's one thing that I think brings a lot of people together and like the open-mindedness of, hey, check out this album.
Right.
That maybe is something completely you've never listened to, but it just opens your mind. So.
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Making Movies, Dire Straits.
Okay.
That's old.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Like early 80s.
Yeah.
But that I first heard that album when I was an exchange student in LA when I was 16. And those songs, I play many of them in this playlist here.
Sure.
I hear them every single day. And that's one I could just like listen to from start to finish.
Right.
Foo Fighters' Greatest Hits.
Oh, all right. There you go.
That's one that's like newer on my mind. I just went to Cincinnati last week.
Did you?
The opening of their tour.
That's awesome.
It was amazing.
That would be a
Foo
good
Fighters
show.
are my favorite.
Such a great show, too. They put on a great show.
Oh, yeah. David Grohl is like one of the greatest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Really.
right. Like, it's just
Yeah.
absolute music
That's
genius.
all there is.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to
And
put
now
it.
they're covering the Bee Gees.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they just released an EP. It's called Pale Satin.
What?
You know, Dave Grohl was talking about that in an interview where he contributes all of his Nirvana drumming to disco drummers, and
I
especially
saw that.
I can't remember his name, but the drummer from Bee Gees, and you can hear it when you're listening to Dave Grohl play the drums on these albums, and it's just disco drums.
Yeah.
You're right that he was doing the same thing that he was doing, that they were doing in these disco albums.
Yeah, so
Anyway,
Taylor
sorry.
Hawkins sang some of the Andy Gibb, kind of.
Really?
So there was a part of the show where shadow dancing.
Okay.
So Taylor
Yeah.
comes out from behind the kit, and he's
No way.
singing shadow dancing, and then Dave gets behind the drums.
Very cool.
Awesome.
I'm still going to check it out on the way home.
Oh yeah. Oh for sure. We always do that too. Right.
Yeah.
Whatever the answer is, like I gotta listen to it.
They call it the DEGs.
Oh, very cool.
Dave
Yeah.
Grohl,
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I know what you're talking about in that interview too,
Yeah.
where like he basically called himself out. He was like, I just like copied everything that they
That this
did.
person did. Right.
It's awesome. Well, Destiny, thank you again for sitting down with us. Honestly, this has been amazing, and you will definitely see us for better or for worse here all the time.
Join my wine club.
Seriously, my wife's going to drag me down here, and we will be back, and probably be the two newest members of the wine club. I'm definitely leaving with at least a couple of bottles to make up for her not being here. But Lee, why don't you go ahead and take us away? It's funny. I'll give you the background. So every episode, I always handle the intros. Lee handles the outros. And he's never prepared, ever. And we always drop it on him to take away the show. So, Lee, take us away.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a review of this podcast. Really helps us out. Check out Rube. We haven't dropped them for a while. Check out Rube and our code Drink About It.
Drink About It.
For 10% off of your purchase on their website. Anyway, thanks again for listening, guys. We love it so much. Until next time, bye-bye.